what's worth taking into our future. It is time to not just find solid ground. It's time to admit that the solid ground that we seek is also higher ground. A place where we can truly have more value, choice, balance, joy, love, health, security, freedom, divinity. Where we can get more out of our life, our relationships, our careers, ourselves. So let me answer that question that I asked earlier. How the hell did I get here today with you? And what's my goal? As I said, after my book Green Lights was published, and people asked me to dive deeper into the process, they asked me questions like, McConnaughey, tell me more about that methodology to determine whether a light in my life is green, yellow, or red. I want to hear more on that. They asked me questions like, how do I know if I can trust a green light? How do I know if a green light is just a battery-powered flash in the pan or some timeless solar-powered green light that I can rely on leading me home? They asked me, how do I know what choice to make at the yellow lights in my life? When do I heed caution and slow down because I need to? And when do I put the pedal to the metal and blow through that damn thing? They asked me about those red lights. He said, how do I trust and believe that there's actually a gift for me in every red light that stops me in my tracks? They also asked me, what do you mean by the art of living? Well, I needed to ponder those questions. So, alone, I went to my favorite office. I buckled up in my favorite seat, and I started crossing the highways and byways of North America. Yes, I took a road trip. Now, I know that there's a science to satisfaction. It's reached by making consistent and measurable choices, ones that we can each and all make to actually engineer more satisfaction, more green lights in our life. But I believe there's an art to living. You see, the science, that's the notes. The art, that's the music. The art, that's the dream. The science is the doing of the deed to reach that dream. The science leads to the art. We follow the science, we create the art. We study the playbook, then we can call the audibles. We use the right tools, we can not just build a house, we can build a home. That would be the art of living. So what did I learn on this road trip I took? What answers did I find and receive? Well, first answer was very clear. There is no one answer. Sorry. The knowledge and wisdom in the art of living is ultimately up to each of us individually. All right, you know, my appetite may be your indigestion. Your appetite may make my stomach queasy. We want different things in different amounts at different times in our life. But that's not to say that there was no rhyme to the reason. No. There is a very consistent rhythm, actually, for all of us in the art of living. It's a rhythm of consistently asking ourselves the right questions. Questions that, if we continue to ask ourselves with complete honesty, will reliably get us closer to what we want and need and inform us as to how to get where we truly want and need to go. Questions that will allow us to adapt, evolve, and chart a course on life's highway that does lead us to the ultimate destination, a life we love. a life that we are honored to be living, a past that we're proud of, and a future that we look forward to. And that, my friends, is what we're going to do today. No, we are not going to find all the answers. But to get started, we are going to start asking the right questions. Amen? Now, our goal is to expose the gap between the man or the woman that you want to be and the man or the woman that you are. And then show you the way to close that gap through simple actions, choice-making paradigms, and daily habits that you can align with your compass so you can feed your appetite. Follow the science. You will find the art. Rule of the road here. Need everyone to remember, this is an open conversation. We are here to admit, not judge. All right? So while we have everyone gathered around the table, over 2 million of us, I must say, yes, 2 million of us united in our quest for more. So know that you are not alone on this journey. Together, we're going to start to peel back the layers, all right? We're going to start admitting the lies so to reveal the true you. I'm telling you, watch what happens. Watch what happens when you start doing that. It's going to start to clear the lane between your head and your heart. And that's going to start to revive your connection to the person you want, need, and are meant to be. Watch it. Yes. Getting to the art of living starts with admitting. Yes, we want to be legit. We got to first admit. Yes, I just rhymed again. Guilty. I do that all the time. Can't help myself. All right, everybody ready? You ready to clean house? Ready to start admitting? All right? Buckle up. Got that. First thing we're going to do, name, claim, and declare. Yes, it is time for you to admit why you are here. Now, I know already that arrogant self-judgment is probably starting to sneak in on some of you. But hey, kick it out. Again, this is a free speech zone, and there is no gavel in this court today. Speak, think, and write freely. Raise your hand and say, yes, I. Because today, we are both guilty and approved at the same time. Name it, claim it, and declare it. Write it down. Put it in the chat. Why are you here? There we go. Coming into the chat. Thank you. Keep them coming, baby. Woo! Me. Why am I here? I'm here because I admit that I'm still not living up to the man that I want and need to be. I admit that I know that I'm not yet the person that I got the capacity to be. I admit that sometimes I don't believe in myself enough. And I admit that I still have a whole lot more to learn and that I need more courage to be more honest with myself. I also admit that I'm here because I am not making straight A's in everything that I'm preaching about. All right? And stuff that I've already learned, I'm still not living up to. But I'm going to keep working on it. That's why I'm here. So your turn. Why are you here? Again, no judgment, no shame or blame. Just admit it. Can you admit Maybe something that you've been lying to yourself about? Can you admit where maybe you're coming up short? Can you admit where maybe you need to improve your aim? Can you admit that what maybe you need to double down on in your life to have more? Can you admit to what maybe you need less of in your life to have more? Why are you here? Admit it. Write it down. Put it in the chat. Get it out. Oh, yeah. Thank you for the chats, everybody. Keep them coming in. Yes. I want a better life. I want to find out, expose the gap. I want to be a better husband. Keep coming up short. I'm a self-sabotager. I'm lonely. I want to find some happiness with myself. I need less self-judgment. I want to keep stepping. I want to keep growing. I want to be a better mom. I don't believe what I know. I want passion and purpose. I want to love myself. I want to escape the corporate rat race. I need some more forgiveness. I need some more resilience. I want to do more. I want to find genuine happiness. Believe in myself and my future. I want to be all of me. And I want to feel more. I want to wake up to love in my life. I want to live. I want to get back to being myself. I want to have more fun with my husband. Hey, thank you. I want to help each other. My gifts, share them. I want joy. I want some more fulfillment. I want some satisfaction. I want to follow my North Star. I want to be the best version of me that I can be. I want to serve more people. I want my fiance to feel whole again. I want to be more generous. I want to ride Space Mountain every day. Oi! Get a ticket on your UFO, baby. I want to be more creative. I want to feel grounded. I want to honor God. Amen. I want to play that drum you got. I want to be a ghostwriter. Just want some happiness. I want to lead. I want to honor myself. I want to recognize happiness when it's right in front of me, because right now I don't feel like I see it when it is. That's a good one to start this next section on right there. What we recognize, what we give credit to as being a reality. Sometimes when it's not. Number 2, let's talk about illusion. Me, I gotta admit again, sometimes reality, it's not enough for me. I feel like I need more than reality to get off to sometimes. I have unrealistic expectations of others and the world around me a lot of times. And when they don't live up to my expectations, I start chasing a false existence. All right? And before I know it, I start chasing a false utopia, one that doesn't even exist. And before I know it, I'm living on an illusion and I'm missing out on reality. This life. Now look, I'm all for the notion that, hey, if you ain't impressed with your reality, then create a reality that you're impressed with. Yay. I'm all for having dreams and the spirit of shooting for the stars, but not at the exclusion of missing out on the reality of the day. How about you? Are you still looking for a perfect mate or a partner that you think is going to fix all your problems, but you hadn't really done the work to fix your own? Illusion. Is your self-worth maybe based on how many likes you got on your Instagram from strangers who you don't even know? Illusion. You want a best-selling book, but you hadn't even written the first word yet. Illusion. You want to solve world hunger, but you haven't fed one person yet. Illusion. You want the $1 million business, but you won't quit the 9-to-5 job that you hate to make it happen. Illusion. Or you want the $1 million business, but won't take that 9-to-5 job that you need as the first step to get there. Also, illusion. So let's admit it. Let's admit where we maybe don't have appropriate expectations on a day-to-day basis of the world and of ourselves. Let's admit that maybe we're missing out on the truths, the beauties, and the tools of the day that are right in front of us. And let's admit that those very truths, beauties, and tools, those are what we are going to need to build that rocket ship to get us to those stars that we're shooting for, the ones we're trying to reach. That is not an illusion. That is reality. Admit it. Number 3, false sense of identity. Are you only hanging out with people that never challenge you, that always agree with you, your beliefs, your politics? You know, the enablers, those people who make you feel safe but maybe keep you small? Speaking of politics, can we just admit how often we say to ourselves, I don't need to be self-reliant and make up my own mind if the people I agree with are in power. Because, hey, they're going to take care of me and my kind. Well, what happens when we do that? We run to our echo chambers. We huddle up. We get tribal. We start saying, me and my tribe. We don't really know what we're about or what we're for. We just know that we're against whatever they're for. Come on. It's not identity. There's no vision or way forward in that thinking. That's just some passive-aggressive counterpunch default bullshit. Guilty. I know. I said no judging. My bogey. Couldn't help myself. At the same time, let's also admit, it's hard to be open to other perspectives and opinions that may not be just like our own. I get it. Because it feels like if we are open to them, if we do consider another point of view, it feels like we might end up compromising our own. And that's fair. Let's admit that too. But at the same time, let's also admit that it might truly serve us well if we at least try and put ourselves in other people's shoes. And when we do, that it doesn't mean we have to quit wearing our shoes. It just means that we can maybe learn more, understand more. And that doesn't give us less identity. It gives us more. Admit it. You check this chat. Whoo, we got amen, strength and diversities, learning. Everyone has opinions. I don't have to agree with them. And that's okay. We can still converse. Respect is a mutual thing. Yes, celebrate differences. Empathy. We can learn, change, and grow from every experience. We got to be humble. Yes, you know the best definition of humble I ever heard? Humble. Admitting that we have more to learn. Whew, love that definition. Humility. That's the kind of humble we're talking about. Need more compassion. Perspective does make us richer. Walking other people's shoes, amen. Let's all keep learning. Be open to new ideas. Everybody does want to be heard and valued. Don't stop. Number 4, coming off of don't stop. Let's talk about complacency. Can we admit all the times we say, oh, well, that's just what it is, so I'm going to go with it? Can we admit where and when that we're not ambitious enough? Admit those times that we hesitated to actually find out because we feared failure. Times we didn't give ourselves enough credit for our ability. Times we put a self-made ceiling over our head when we didn't really have a right to do so. Can we admit when and where we blamed others for not getting the success that we wanted? Politicians, government, economy, banks, or boss. Admit it. Number 5. Oh, I love this one. Our greatest strengths can also be our greatest weaknesses. This one just came to me like 6 months ago. I don't know why it took 52 and a half years to figure it out, but sure. You ever notice how your greatest assets and strengths can also be your greatest Achilles heel? All right, me. All right, one of my greatest strengths happens to be resilience. Now, I fall down, I get up and dust myself off like that. I step in a pile of shit. I keep running while I'm cleaning that shit off my shoe on the go. All right? But that can turn into one of my biggest downfalls. Being a repeat offender. See what I mean? I'll step in the same pile of shit every time around the bend because I never stop to take inventory of just where that pile of shit that I keep stepping in was. And if I did that, I'd be able to dodge it the next time around the bend. But I don't do that. Keep running. Clean the shit off. Stepping it again on the next way around. You see, I rely on resilience. One of my greatest strengths. So much sometimes that I'm too busy dusting myself off, too busy running again with the same shit on my shoe, that I never take the time to look back and ask, why do I keep stepping in that same pile of shit? My resilience is great, but not at the expense of a little wisdom and discernment, and a shoe that stinks less. Another strength of mine is preparation. I love to prepare. It has led to so much of my success. But it can also become my Achilles heel. How? Because I love preparation so much. If you give me enough time, I will prepare until the day I die and still think that I could use more time. I mean, sometimes I have to tell myself, McConnaughey, declare, boy. Get in the ring, son. Ding, ding. It is game time. Ready or not, here I come. Enough prep, enough studying. It is time to start doing. Go. I ask you, what can you admit that might be one of your greatest strengths, that when you rely on it too much, actually becomes your Achilles heel? Write it down. Put it in the chat. Admit it. Procrastination. Overthinking. I like to think a lot. Oh, I'm too organized. Too proud. My honor turns to pride. Oh, I like to take my time, but I can sometimes get lazy. My patience. Sometimes I'll wait around too long for things to happen. Oh, I love pleasing people. Sometimes I please them at the expense of pleasing myself, taking care of myself. Sometimes I think of others so much that I don't love myself enough. I love to talk. Sometimes I talk too much. Sometimes I talk so much I don't listen. Taking care of everyone else. The resentment builds up. Oh, the belief that no one can do it as good as me. There you go, Ellen. Being too strong. I got nothing left. Too busy saving the world and not me. Oh, I think I'm always right. No one truly hears my voice. I'm relaxed, but I get too relaxed. I get tired. Okay. Thank you for the chats. Keep them coming. This is a live discussion we're having. I'm loving this. I've never done it before. This is on point. Thank you. Number 6. White lies. White lies. Remember that song? Some of you youngsters out there are going, what the hell's he humming? Everyone else there, y'all go, I remember that tune. Yeah. Question, or fact, I think. We all tell white lies. To ourselves and to each other. My dad told me a good white lie when I was a kid. It was around 1980. So I was, I think, around 11 years old. I was living with my dad in a trailer park. My mom, she wasn't there. She was on an extended vacation in Florida, my dad told me. Well, I found out 20 years later that in 1985, my mom and dad, they were actually in the middle of their second divorce. See, mom wasn't on an extended vacation in Florida. Now, if my dad had told me the truth that they were divorced, man, I think I'd have had so many questions. I'd have been so confused. I wouldn't have understood it. So I asked myself, do I blame my dad now for not telling me the truth? Tell me that white lie then? The answer is no. Because he did it for my preservation. He thought it was best for me not to know. I gotta say, I think he was right. And besides, they got remarried for The third and final time, anyway. It's a true story. Look, what I'm saying is white lies sometimes are necessary to tell. But what we got to watch is the slippery slope of letting the little white lies become the bigger lies. You know what I mean? Too many big lies. We don't know our own truth from our own fiction. And before we know it, we look around and we're living a lie. We find ourselves lying for a short-term convenience, but we do it so often that the lies, they start to accrue. And instead of the lies creating convenience, they end up not being convenient at all. They actually end up causing us stress from, one, trying to remember who we told what and when, and two, we find ourselves in between the rock and a hard place of trying to lie our way into defending lies that we already told in the past. We all been there. Those lies, they leave crumbs in our past. Crumbs that we are eventually going to have to sweep up. And in the long run, that sucks for all of us. So I ask you, any white lies you've been telling that maybe you've been letting slip into some bigger lies? Ones that you might be telling others? Or ones that you might be telling yourself? Guilty? Admit it. What do we got over here, chat? That I'm fine. That lies are okay. That I'm not depressed. That I can afford this. That I'm not good enough. That I'm disciplined when I'm not. That the keto and dark chocolate are good for me. That my dreams will be given to me. That I don't miss my home. That I'm not an addict. Okay, thank you. Keep them coming. Ah, yeah. That I don't need anyone. That I did my best. That I lied to keep loving my life. That I'm drinking as much as I am. That I can do it all. That I'm trying as hard as I can. Beautiful. Keep them coming, please. This is live. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to get on to number 7 with you. It's called imposter syndrome. All right. Let's admit that our confidence is fickle. Take me, for example. And I need achievement, confidence, a sense of significance. I don't achieve, and I start to feel very insignificant. I feel less confident. Seriously. That's my wife. I go 48 hours without achieving something, I start to feel unworthy. I forget to remind myself, like, hey, McConnaughey, what about the last 53 years of your life? Look around, look back. You want to give yourself some credit for that? And I forget to. As much as we say we enjoy the process, so often we panic if we don't have constant achievement. So we're always perpetually in lack of achievement. And here's the thing. It never ends. Whether you are a rookie just getting started or you just had a big successful breakthrough. Let me tell you a story. It's 1996. Movie I made, A Time to Kill. Anybody remember that? Well, it opened up on the weekend, a very successful box office and critical applause. And within 72 hours, that opening weekend, I suddenly became famous, a movie star. And I could greenlight movies in Hollywood. Everybody seemed to love me, and they even told me so out loud. Things that I had talked about before that nobody listened to. Now, not only were they listening to, but they were putting it in big, bold print. I was on the cover of a lot of magazines. Next to my face on the cover of GQ magazine, it even said, Matthew McConnaughey saves the movies. Oh, I didn't know the movies needed saving, but all right. I was on top of the world, right? Negatory? No. See that overnight tidal wave of applause and affluent had understandably thrown me off balance. Ironically, my confidence was very fickle. Why? Because I was confused, man. I had a hell of a lot more questions than I did answers. Certain? I was not. You see, I didn't feel like I had earned the sudden success, the attention, the affection, the overnight fame. And I started to feel guilty about it. Why me? Geez, do I deserve this? What's real? What's not real? So I did what in hindsight I now know was a very smart thing. I got the hell out of Dodge. Whoop. I left Hollywood and I went to a monastery in New Mexico whose invitation was, if you can make the 13-mile hike down the washed-out dirt road off Highway 11 to get here, pull the rope, ring the bell, and we'll find you a place to sleep. So I had a friend drop me off on the side of that highway. I made the 13-mile pilgrimage. I pulled the rope, rang the bell, and a monk named Brother Aldrew answered the door. He welcomed me in. He said, why do you come here, brother? I said, brother, I got a lot of things on my mind, man. I need to talk to somebody. I need to confess. He listened to me and then said, brother, I know just the right person for you to talk to. His name is Brother Christian. He'll meet you in the morning at sunrise. That next morning, Brother Christian met me at sunrise. He said, do you want to go for a walk, brother? So we did. Now, on this walk, I began to purge. I confessed where and what I felt were sins of my mind, sins of my flesh, sins of my deeds. Newfound indulgences that were making me feel gross. Some of them make me feel like I just hadn't really earned them or deserved them. Or maybe I didn't even want them. I went on and on and on with my confession. Brother Christian patiently listening as he walked beside me, hands behind his back. Never saying a word. He never said one word. 4.5 hours later, me purging, confessing, him not saying a word, we circled back to the chapel where we sat on a bench. Me, I'm sitting there and tears are running down my face, and I got snot running out of my nose, and I'm sitting there coming out of this purge, and I finally wrap up my 4.5-hour confessional rap sheet. Brother Christian has still not said one word. But now I'm finally done. My head's down, I'm wiping tears from my eyes, and I'm awaiting his judgment. He says nothing. 20 seconds go by. He says nothing. 30 seconds go by. He says nothing. A minute goes by. It's silent. Nothing. Finally, I looked up at him. And I see Brother Christian just staring at me. We just held each other's gaze, just looked at each other's eyes for about 10 seconds. And the clock was ticking in my mind like I was just waiting on his condemnation. That's when he leaned slightly towards me. And he whispered, "Me too." Thank you. I laid out on the ground, man. Tears all came back, but this time they were tears of relief, forgiveness, joy. You see, those two words, me too. Those two words, Brother Christian didn't. He let me know that I didn't have a singular, self-centered, independently original, one and only, one-of-a-kind problem. No, I had a human condition. With those two words, Brother Christian invited me back to the human race. And it took so much pressure off of me. Like I said, finally I was able to forgive myself. I was also able to name and claim what I was going to change about myself. I was able to see more clearly the truth from the bullshit and all the opulent options of my newfound fame. Me too. Those two words let me off the hook and allowed me to handle my business, to take ownership of my place within the human condition. Thank you, Brother Christian. So I want to ask you, can you admit something in your life that you don't feel like you deserve or have earned? Can you admit a goal or a dream that you want to chase, but you're feeling like, nah, I can't fly that high. I'm not equipped. I don't really have the ability. I'm not qualified. Can you admit something in your life that guilt is keeping you from getting? Can you admit something that you don't want to start, continue, or finish because you're afraid to? Say it aloud to yourself. Write it down. Confess. Admit it. Me too. Number 8. What is the boogeyman? Dum, 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 dum. The unknown, the darkness, your fears, your flaws, your future. Now, why and when and how do we get so convinced that anything in the dark, anything unseen or under the bed is bad? Something to fear. Something that can hold us back. Something that if we face it, if we dare to face it, will defeat us. I'm not sure why, but it doesn't seem like we shake those damn nursery rhymes as easy as we like to think we do we? I think we learned all that stuff young. And I get it. There is plenty to fear in life. But let's admit, most of the time, when we get the courage to confront that which we fear, we usually find out that there wasn't much to fear at all. That fear was mostly just in our head. There was no boogeyman under the bed. Now, it was the boogeyman until we had a look, stepped into the unknown, the darkness, and confronted our fears. See, sometimes that means facing our fears and flaws and admitting that we are not perfect. And when we do that, we quit turning our dreams into these damn nightmares. So whether it's the future, the unknown, or our flaws, we have to look the monster in the eye and hold that son of a bitch's gaze. It's hard, I know. We want to blink when we try that. But don't blink. So I'm telling you, if you hold its gaze, it's going to bow and it's going to heed. It will become mortal. And then it becomes manageable. And that's when we get the constructive capacity to navigate past and through whatever it is that's keeping us up at night. Now, if we don't look it in the eye, that son of a bitch starts growing like a shadow on the wall. As we reseed, it proceeds. Anything worth having or gaining in our lives has to cost us something. The cost of facing our fears is not free. It's hard. We're supposed to be sweating in our boots. Fears, flaws, we all have them. The future, the unknown, it's scary. But we have to understand that we can have fears and flaws and still get to our ideal life. I'd say that actually the fears and the flaws are an inherent part of the initiation of getting there. They're the rites of passage to get where we want to go. And I'd say there's no getting there without them. So, first off, let's admit that we all have fears and flaws, right? They're there. They need to be. Second, let's admit that to get to where we want to go, we got to face them. I found this excerpt in my journals when I was working on this section of the event, and it made me smile. Let me read it to you. Oh, shit. Said, what's the boogeyman? To look the boogeyman in the eye and laugh at him. To dare ourselves to be inconsiderate and not ask for permission. Sometimes we got to listen to that little whisper inside us that only we can hear and chase that fucking dream down. Just so we can find out. That's a fun one, right? So what's been holding you hostage? What's a boogeyman under your bed that you've been too afraid to find out ain't as scary as you thought he was? What monster do you need to look in the eye? Admit it. And if you dare, put it in the chat. What do we got? Oh. Alcohol. Age. Money. Rejection. My past. Divorce. Control. Perfection. Mental health. My finances. My father. Hiding. Control. Letting go. Hurt. Pain. Money and perfection. Debt. Abuse. Being average. My daughter. Forgiveness. Disorganization. Being alone. Burden. Losing it all. I eat too much. Solitude. Irrelevance. I'm a burden. Abandonment. Trust. Being alone. Falling on my face. The success of life. Responsibility. Rejection. Disappearing. Marriage. Did I do enough for my kids? Me too. Thank you, Josiah. Mistakes. Losing my dad. Disappointment. Not being able to pay my bills. Amen. That's not easy, is it? No. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for continuing to do it on your own. I think we have to. We have to. Let's talk about this next topic. It's number 9. Everybody hear me okay out there? Okay. Number 9 is a beautiful one. It's called gratitude. What we are thankful for. So I got a question for you and for me. Do you dissect your success more? Or do you dissect your failures more? Me, I dissect my failures more than my successes. Damn it. Most of us probably do, I'm guessing. Anybody out there going through a midlife crisis? Carissa told me this morning there's even something going around called a quarter-life crisis right now. Anybody going through one of those? Me too. Congratulations to us. We're not settling. But we got to ask ourselves, are we seeking and moving forward towards a more meaningful chapter in our lives? Or are we just running from our past? A past that maybe we regret, feel guilty about, or consider a failure. Now, I propose that most of these crises, most of these midlife crises and quarter-life crises are not because we did not do all we could have done or because we failed in our past. Rather, that most of these midlife crises are because we don't realize truly how much we actually did. We don't respect and show ourselves enough gratitude for the successes of our past. Now look, we all need something to push off of and away from to get to where we're going. But we got to watch we don't wallow in our failures too much, you know? We got to watch that we don't dissect our failures for too long, because we do that, we become victimized by them. We start giving them too much credit. We find ourselves not only stopped at the red light, we find ourselves stuck at the damn red light. So I want you to admit a failure that you've made, that you're obsessing over. Can you say enough with the dissection of that failure and instead maybe forgive yourself? Let it go. Release the guilt. Turn the page. Move on. Change. And give Grace her time of day. Now, admit a success that you've had or something that you do pretty darn well on a consistent basis. Something you're good at, you know, at work. A way you care for your child or sibling or your spouse. Maybe you have great timing for telling jokes. Maybe you're a great whistler. Whatever that something is, I want you to give more credit to it give more respect to it, have more gratitude for it. Now, will you commit to dissecting the successes instead of the failures in your life? Because I believe that the recipe for your particular secret sauce is under the hood of what you do well, not what you don't. So will you dig deeper into the why of your successes? Show yourself more gratitude for them? You do that, and you're going to start to have more success more often, I bet you. See, gratitude, it reciprocates. When we are thankful for something, it has more meaning to us. When something has more meaning to us, we care for, nurture, tend, and feed it more. We take more responsibility for it. And when we do that, it grows, spreads, scales, multiplies. We do it more often, and it happens more often. And therefore, that makes us even more generous. So start dissecting your successes more than your failures. And start being great at what you're good at instead of trying to be good at what you're bad at. What are you good at? What are you successful at? Admit it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Number 10. Oh, this is a beautiful one. It's one of my good friends' highest value. Big Dolphin, I know you're out there. Number 10, trust. In 1999, I had just had a dream that I was floating down a river, naked, wrapped up in anacondas, sharks, piranhas, and crocodiles. And lined along the ridge of the river, there were thousands of African tribesmen, each holding a shield and a spear. And it wasn't a nightmare. Actually, it was a wet dream. No shit. And it wasn't the first time that I'd had this dream. I know, doesn't make sense. And because it wasn't the first time that I had this dream, and because it was so peculiar and ironic, the elements in the dream and the outcome, I believe that it had a message in it for me. A message I had to listen to. A message that I had to chase. But what was the dream telling me? And just where was I supposed to chase it to? Well, the only point of origin in the dream was the continent of Africa via the African tribesmen. Well, Africa's a big continent. Geez, where do I go? A couple nights later, I'm sitting in my hotel room, still trying to figure out a clue to help me chase the meaning of this dream down. And I was listening to my favorite musician, Ali Farka Touré, when one of my favorite songs of his came on. It's called I Do, A-I-D-U. Now, this had long been one of my favorite love songs, but I never really knew the exact meaning of it because the lyrics were in the African language of Bambara, of which I didn't understand. Now, I'd always thought that it was a romantic love song about a man and a woman, a couple in love. And for whatever reason, on this night there in the hotel listening to him, I got curious to find out what that love song was about. So I got up, I grabbed the CD case, and looked at the liner notes. This is what they read. This love song read, the liner notes read this. Trust and faith in your fellow man has no equal. If you have experienced trust, you will know its strength. You must know yourself before you know others. It was a love song. Just not the one that I thought it was. It was a love song about trust. It was a love song about the great power of having faith in our fellow man. A love song about community, fellowship, about our need to know, have faith in, and trust ourselves. To be able to know, have faith in, and trust others. Well, that's when I thought, well, hell, where's Ali from? I looked it up, Nia Funke Mali. I said, well, that's where I'm going to go. Trust that. 2 days later, I was on a flight to Mali, Africa to find Ali. I did find Ali on that trip and many other truths that I, to this day, trust in. I get it. It's hard to trust. We all seem to be in a constant battle with each other, with ourselves. Every day, we're in a cultural, ideological, philosophical battle with the world around us. Every day, we're in a physical, mental, and spiritual battle with ourselves. There are vibrations of trust. And those vibrations either separate us or they bring us together. The more we give, the more we get. David Schultz says, trust is the coin of the realm. When it is in the room, great things happen. When it's not, they don't. Look, I think we can all admit that today the vibration of our lack of trust, it is separating us. There is not much trust in the room. And we are suffering from the fact. You know, a study came out last year that less than 30% of people trust their own neighbors. Oh, geez. That's gross. In our low trust society, we're anxious. We're looking for a tribe. We're cynical. We can't extend our hand to others because we've forgotten how to extend our hand to ourselves. We got to shake hands again. First with ourselves, then with each other. It's the only way to build both of us up. Now, look, I'm not asking us to blindly trust anybody and everyone all the time. No, that would be foolish and unwise. I get it. Hell, it's a risk getting out of bed in the morning. But I am asking you, and I'm asking me, to stop leading with distrust, to stop making a lack of trust our default feeling on high. If we distrust ourselves, and our own intuitions, we start missing out on a lot in our life. But when you trust others, when you give them a chance to heal, we're also healing ourselves. I don't believe we're ever going to truly move forward, individually or collectively, without having more trust. There has to be some amount of trust that we can all have the courage to give more than we do right now. So I got a proposal. How about this? How about we agree and admit to having a 5% more trust coalition? Yes, 5%. And look, and I know there's some tyrants out there sitting there listening going, oh, perfect. I can't wait to take advantage of all these trust suckers. and to that I say, you know what? Yes, if we trust more, we are going to get burned a time or two more. But the times that you get burned are going to pale in comparison to the strength, support, victories, and successes that you are going to get if you do trust more. You can measure mistrust in ounces, but you can measure trust in pounds. 5% more trust. 5%. Can we start there? See where it takes us? Trusting others 5% more, being 5% more trustworthy. It's going to lead to trust in yourself a whole lot more. So, let's first admit how little we do trust others. Now, let's admit how little we trust ourselves. Can you admit that you do have the courage to trust 5% more than you do? Admit it. Admit it. Oh, trust in each other. My intuition, trusting my gut. Okay, those are coming in. I'm not going to get to all of them right now. They're there. I want to just admit something with you and have you admit this. Doesn't it feel pretty good to come clean? You know, look, we bury all this shit in the corner of our yard, all that stuff we didn't want in our house, the stuff we put on the porch and then ran out of space, so we put it in the shed. And then when the shed got full, we put it in the back corner of the yard, you know, so we wouldn't have to deal with it. But now all those piles of shit we put in the corner of our yard, it's starting to encroach on us, you know? That pile keeps growing until it smothers the shed. Then it gets on our porch. Then it's in our living room. Then it's in our kitchen. And before we know it, we are stepping over shit just to get in bed. Yeah, we're running out of real estate. And soon enough, oh shit, there's shit on the pillow. So we flip the pillow over. Oh shit, there's shit on the other side of the pillow. We gotta come clean, folks. Let's admit what we've been hiding. What's that thing that started small, that we just innocently put in the closet of our conscience, that now is starting to creep, like the weeds that are now starting to trespass on our day-to-day real estate. What's that shit that now might just be under our pillow? Let's admit it. All right. So I've asked you to admit a whole lot of things today. Thank you for playing along and interrogating yourself. Thank you for not judging yourself and just good old admitting. And hell, if anything, can we all just have a good old giggle at ourselves for being human? Remember, guilty and approved at the outset. I think we've all earned a heartfelt laugh at the fact that we may not be as evolved as a species as we like to think we are. Sorry, but we gotta admit it. Like I said, if we want to start living, we gotta start admitting. If we want to be legit, we gotta admit. Guilty twice. I rhymed for the second time. Now, thank y'all for that. I met our first guest recently on a podcast, and we had a lot in common right away. She is willing to admit to truths about herself, about life, successes and failures. She has faced and made many a boogeyman bow down. Never one to be complacent. She is committed to making the hard choices that do bring more balance, more joy, more love to her life and the lives of those around her. That's cool. Today, she's going to share a game-changing philosophy on finding and committing to living more of your best life, being more of your best you, by making one simple change in how you think. You can only do what you do when you're clear about what you don't. Marie
Marie Forleo is a leader In a whole new generation of super solars, millions of young women look to Marie as their inspiration.
She's one of the top life coaches on the planet.
An internationally recognized, award-winning entrepreneur.
Wrote the New York Times #1 bestseller.
Everything is figure-outable.
Star of the award-winning show Marie TV.
She's the founder of the highly acclaimed business training school, B School.
She's an extraordinary woman. She's a Jersey girl.
She inspires millions of people around the world.
A socially conscious global empire.
She's really all about giving back and changing the world.
Please welcome Marie Forleo.